Yeah. Okay. Good. um, all right. So welcome to the Art of Freedom class today. Um, yeah, it's great. It's every time so new, and also in the way that it comes to me to prepare it. So I love to share a little bit with you about that, because it's like there's more and more. Activity in a sense, like everything is going to be activated by everything that we do, like the recognition of the light, the meditation, the suddenly receiving certain parts that you never heard before. It's like sinks in and start to become a part of you. It's like that is a real say development taking place in the recognition of your truth, of course, of the truth of who you are. Well, also it becomes more clear what doesn't belong to it and what is already over or what is gone or what is and that's wonderful to see that happen too. So the thing today is that we have as healing target the child parent idea. And so what does that mean? What is a healing target? It's like, okay, so in all that we experience in our, say, sojourn or in our journey, first as a human being, later on as an awakening consciousness, you see that there can be certain parts that you drag with you, like almost like in a backpack, and it can be pretty heavy. You can be also so used to it that you don't even recognize that it is happening. So that it's that it's happening while you carry it, even though it's very heavy. You probably recognize that if you have anything that you carry with you. Otherwise, it would be light and easy and free of that, at least free of the past ideas, free of something that doesn't totally come back all the time, or at pauses and in moments, or maybe in every encounter that you have. Now, the idea with the healing target, then, it is not that we're going to dive into your past to see what went wrong and what influence that had on you. See, that would be the traditional way of therapy or psychoanalysis. Tell me about your past, and then the whole story goes, and you bring it to life again. And maybe to look at it in a different way, but it's still the same stuff, So that's not going to make it different in the sense. It's still, say, all coming from the same box of ideas, your human frame of reference, and so that's not the way we're going to do that. So how can something be a healing target if we don't use the traditional ways of elevating it, of say coming clear with your own past? And then it's like if anything from the past would be real, then we would have a serious problem. It would be unforgivable, because the persons that did something to you, the persons that hurt you, or the total failure of an upbringing that you had, or who knows what happened, all seem to be real occurrences that say influenced you, that broke you, that hurt you, that did all kinds of things with you. So if that was a reality, then that could never be resolved. Then it really was like that. It happened like that. So now you say, like, okay, so it doesn't have any reality. Well, it's like, to you it can have reality because it's a memory you carry in your backpack. But where we come to, and especially in this meeting, is then actually we don't you don't necessarily have to carry that backpack because it is empty, but you still carry it around thinking that it's heavy and it's a load, and it's, yeah, whatever it is for you. So, and then the next thing that comes up too to share is then, so do I just say negate all the situations and occurrences in my past? Do I just wish-wash over it and forget about it? Is that the solution to? No, that's not the solution either. So does that make it easier? I don't know. Does it make it easier how to deal with it? I don't know. So the great thing is that there's a whole different way that is being presented today. It's like it's a whole different way of looking at the whole package, so to speak. Because I will share some sheets with very basic references. One of them is this. It's like the way that you look at what has occurred is looked at with your, say limited idea about yourself. Even though you were there in the situations yourself, it's like you were there. You were the main figure in that story. But at the same time, your perception of it actually did not make any sense. So in other words, you cannot evaluate yourself because, and we'll see what that is. It's like your cues for inferences are wrong. Your cues for inference is wrong. Like you miss it. You don't see yourself. That entails that you carry with you an history that you think really happened to you, and I'm not going to take that away from you. But it's interesting to, if you want to be free of it, to give it a possibility of letting it be shaken. Your ideas about yourself, letting these ideas be shaken. And so today I invited a real master in that, who can shake that very well, the foundation of your thinking. And I'm going to share that with you. It is I'll probably listen to 20 minutes or so of the master teacher exactly talking about this. Exactly, like the shadows of the past is the title of the video, it's not a video, it's an audio, but it's great to listen to. And what is so great about it is that you're actually taken out of the way that you have looked at yourself. You're being shown that the way that you look at yourself in fact doesn't make any sense and will never make any sense if you look with your perception, if you look with your references of humanhood. So something happens when you come in touch with this light. So here we are also with our healing target. So the healing target child, parent, is then also, it's like there's something that will be shifting the whole story for yourself too, by you stepping into the adventure of allowing yourself the tiniest change already would be enough. It's like the tiniest change in letting go of holding on to your story, of what you think your story is. Allowing that to be shaken a little bit would already be great. So it's like, have your own adventure here with, say, this light that's called the master teacher, which is, it seems like a figure, like a person, but it actually is not. So it's a representation of your whole mind. It's a light that actually, say, is part of you, referring to you in a whole different way that you might never have heard before. But it's very worth, say, letting yourself be exposed to it, just to allow a tiny little change to occur in your idea as a child or as a parent or both. Like what you carry with you, whenever that happened, whatever you carry with you as a story, as something that repeats, as a pattern, as a habit, as a way of in fact hurting yourself continuously. Like you carry the story with you to attack yourself and to separate yourself off and to, I don't want to get into it too deeply, because it's like we will listen to like 20 minutes of Master Teacher, and this specific talk, The Shadows of the Past, it's actually a reading from A Course in Miracles, but he's commenting on it too in a very different way. So enjoy this. I'm gonna turn it on as an audio, and we get back to that later. So okay, so the little program of today, I might as well say that now too. The little program that came to me is then after Master Teacher, we have a very different kind of introduction to something that walks, say, pushed by the wind. And some of you might be familiar with it. It's a Dutch artist who actually uses the wind to bring his sculptures to life, you could say. But it's entertaining to watch it, and just it's completely different. Like he would never have thought that it would work, and it actually works. So this is the same with you. It's like some things you think, I'm gonna wait for something to happen to me for the healing to occur. Like I will wait patiently, but I have no idea what I can do in this, or who knows what. Like you have no idea what is possible and what can be given you, and you receive that in a certain way. So that's how I do that. So that's the kind of a pause, a break. Then after that, we'll see what the next steps will be. That's open still. I didn't fill that in yet. So we'll see how that happens. But that's the program. Oh yeah, by the way. So you might hear some audience, and they're quite spontaneous. You will recognize that. But that's all right. So it becomes quieter all along the talk.
Wow. Okay. It's in its own identity. It sees the same. How am I going to change that for you? It sees the same things you do. It just correlates them in a manner that justifies its autonomy rather than seeing it as whole. Yes, that's exactly the teaching. Yes. How could it communicate? It's a dead thing. It's dead. It's in time. It thinks something else is going to happen. You understand? Yeah. It really thinks that something is happening and going to happen later on. That's crazy. If anything is happening at all, everything is happening. And there's nothing outside of you. Got it? So it's everything that's happening to you is all there is. There aren't separate thoughts about you. There's nothing attacking you outside of you. This was what we got to yesterday when we read, didn't it?
Yes.
Well, doesn't it seem as though something's attacking you? Don't those figures out there seem to be real? Huh? Isn't it necessary that you defend yourself? Sure. Oh, yeah. Now, what can I do for you? See, you're looking for an explanation based on the defense of yourself from your own mind. Huh? Obviously, if you defend yourself in any regard, you're authenticating the attack, aren't you?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, come on, then where's the problem? Your defense.
Yes.
Doing Sermon on the Mount. Your defense is what the problem is. Period. Well, you could study it if you want to, and you'll come up with a defense for that. Because you refuse to accept the fundamental premise of attack that you're being attacked by your own thoughts.
Yes.
Not only that, but your reality is based on attack and defense in your own mind. I don't like that. I used to try to teach it in a particular way. All judgment is an attack.
Yes.
Okay. And no one attacks without wanting to hurt.
Yep.
All relationships on earth are based on hurting, not on loving. And if you think they're based, if you can't look around and see that, you don't want to hear this message. Can you take to the step that you're only hurting yourself? I don't know. You're hurting yourself by denying your brother his reality.
Yep.
Okay, you're all nodding with this. Now go out and teach this then. Because the Conscious Association really would like to hear this. He really wants to hear it. The question is, can he find himself not guilty? If you find yourself totally not guilty, all right, you'll extend to him the certainty of your mind association of which he is a part. In fact, he's a total part. He may not see himself as a total part at that moment if he's in a different place in time, but he will see your mutual reassociation with yourself in the declaration of your wholeness or your love for each other. He cannot not. Why? He's a product of your mind. You want to, I saw you deny it at that moment and say, my brother and I, are they going to share that? Bullshit. He remains a product of your mind. You come here believing that you're exchanging with me because we've spent 42,000 years exchanging. I'm actually all of these other identities, just in various associations in your own mind. Okay? And you have had associations with all of them because nothing is out of your mind. It's all in your mind. But you're the determiner of how you want that to be in your own memory association. Okay? The whole teaching is, if you define me, you kill me. Because you're defining yourself as dying. And you must therefore construct in your own mind associate thoughts that will verify your cancer. You cannot not do it. So you are causing your brother to be sick by your association of yourself. Is this so?
Yes.
Got it? You've named him now. Okay, there's Patula, my daughter, who is I'm going to protect, and I'm going to raise her up, and she's going to, if she doesn't get killed by something, I'll protect all that. I'll possess that. And she can get sick and die along with me because that's what happens to all of us. That's what we do, isn't it here? Yeah. Is that okay? Are you with me? What do you want? See? You can't have two worlds. I know you want to have two worlds, but you can't. There is no association between pain and sickness and greed and anger and God. None at all. Some of you have to learn the trick of always being wrong. You've been teaching a perceptual program association, you can't see that it's crap. That the action itself of the step is what it really is, not the association. The salvation say would be turning your will over at that moment. That's it. But you've got plenty of verifications that this is not true here, don't you? That there's no God. What do you think at that point? That you made yourself? Or do you create another God outside of yourself that verifies you? You'll do one or the other and both are wrong. You think you know what an idol is, Jesus said? Idol is every thought you have in justification for yourself. Be it an emotion, be it an apparent exchange, be it anything. You've created these images to verify you each moment in your own memory. Do they succeed in doing it? How could they not? Isn't that funny? And if you don't get the result you want from that memory at that moment, okay, you'll view it as an attack on you. Isn't that funny? And actually, the situation was whole at that moment, and what is missing in it is what you refuse to bring into it.
Right.
This is called I did this yesterday, the double cancel out. So if you refuse to bring everything into it, that association which you constructed in your own mind, projected and isn't true at all, also refuses. Now you got a double, nothing's happening. That's why I left you yesterday.
Yes, yes.
And nothing is really happening. That the thought I have about my brother is one that I have rejected about myself. It then comes back to me in other forms, and it is not so. But it's provided to give me a definition of myself. How would it not then do the things that it's been provided to do? You demand that it do other things, but it can't. When Jesus tries to teach us in the Course, he says it's a dream with a bigger dream going on. This is the original dream that you had to establish this in the first place. So here we are with what we call the Course in Miracles, which is an insertion. Are we on the air? Okay. Hey, we're on the air. Hello, good evening, good morning. Hi out there. Here we are with the teaching of a whole mind, a master mind, your wholeness out of time, directing you through a course in miracles or a reassociation of your mind to the certainty that you are as God created you. And it's become an intrinsic part of your mind dedication to awaken from the dream of sickness and death that you find yourself in. We want to verify to you that this metamorphosis of your mind is continuing at an accelerating rate. In the Course, the direction is that we are going to save time, okay, within your linear time associations to keep you in your own dream from a continual redirection of your mind to a satisfactory conclusion of your apparent dilemma, your search for happiness, which has always what? Resulted in death. Because the images of your perceptual mind are designed to establish the autonomy or separation of your mind from the reality that is all around you. Are we all clear with this? This is the fundamental teachings of A Course in Miracles. That you, remember we read yesterday, you are the dreamer of the dream. There is no one but you. You are the constructor of what you believe to be your own reality. And to you it is real. Okay? And until you change your mind by whatever device you apply to your own self, you cannot come to know who you are. All right? And in the sense that you retain your own identity within your own dream, you literally can never come to know you who you are. And Jesus will say in the Course, you can stretch this another 1,000 years, another 100,000 years, yet is this dream of death actually over? Now you have a voice that's in your own dream that suddenly is standing in front of you, or is speaking to you, or has given you a vision, or has caused phenomenological associations to correlate in higher identities, brighter associations. You've become more creative now, and you're feeling the thrill of self-expression that is transcending your original deep, chaotic perceptual association of yourself based on the allowance of your projections to judge you in the limitations of your self-identity. Did anybody hear that? What? Play that over. What did he say? Here's what he said. Since you are only a remembrance of your association, the requirement is that you stop bringing your identification of yourself into the situation, which is actually a whole part of you. Since what you bring into the association cannot exceed the identity in which you find yourself. Okay? So it's necessary in that sense that you forgive or forget your previous identity That's called a holy instant, because at that moment, all of the conflict of your own mind dissolves by your simple determination not to address it in your own conflictual mind. Isn't that so? So, and you can remember this occurring because actually you want to love and you do want to communicate. And that every thought that you're having in sickness and pain is actually a total thought of love. Isn't it have to be? It would have to be. Otherwise, how do you know that it's sickness and pain? Do you see? It must be somewhere and everywhere just its opposite. To forgive, then, is merely to remember only the loving thoughts you gave in the past and those that were given you. The determination of the perceptual mind to carry the resentment of hate, of a cultural association of quid pro quo, of give and take, of love and hate, in order to keep its identity is astonishing. Are you aware of that? The identity of a perceptual mind is based on a shared grievance. Is there a question about this? Okay. We must remember the terrible things that were done to us, or we will fall apart as a nation. I must remember the awful things that my brother did to me, or I will fall apart as a self-association of myself. It's the same thing, isn't it? To remember the loving thoughts you gave in the past and those that were given you. Okay? All the rest must be forgotten. Not forgiven. Forgotten. You couldn't forgive them if they're real. Some of you guys bring your grievances up with you and then try to practice forgiveness of them. You'll never succeed. What? Forgiveness is a selective remembering based not on your selection. Yet it must be that you did select it somewhere in time, because you sought for peace and you sought for love and happiness, didn't you? Okay. Now, the shadowy figures that you would make immortal are enemies of reality. Isn't that a lovely sentence? Yes. The shadowy figures that you would make immortal are enemies of reality. I'll help you with immortality here. You define immortality as mortality. Okay. What that says is you would make death immortal. You have to do that because you can't destroy yourself. Everybody with me on that? Come on, once more. You can't destroy yourself. So what you do is attempt to make mortality immortal. For the shadowy figures that you would make immortal, because you really don't believe you're ever going to die. Not really. Okay, your whole association of perceptual mind is based on being attacked and being in conflict and never resolving it, because you can't construct death. Okay, so that a good definition for perceptual mind is eternal hell. Okay, everybody? This is in the Christian tradition. That you are condemned to eternal hell by your association of hell thoughts. All right? Shadowy figures you would make immortal are enemies of reality. Be willing to forgive the Son of God for what he didn't do. Okay? The shadowy figures, see if you can be with me now, are the witnesses that you bring with you to demonstrate that he did what he did not do. And this is a sharing of the ancient guilt that there actually was a time that we attacked reality. And we found ourselves in this place where we had lost communication with God. Okay. Now the practice, and you are in association with your own mind, and you have brought these shadowy figures, these people, what you call people, okay, in objective reality, are shadowy figures that you never see clearly, but they are idols enough to justify yourself in association of your own dream, okay? Now, because you bring them, you will hear them. And to pretend that you don't hear them when you bring them is absurd. What you're saying is, I'm willing to hear some of my dream, but other parts of my dream I will reject. Wow. And you who keep them by your own selection do not understand how they came into your mind and what their purpose is. Uh-oh. Why are they here? Okay. Are they really here to show you what love is and to show you that God is real and to show you that you never left heaven and to show you that the schism didn't happen? They are here for precisely the opposite reason. Well, they represent the evil that you think was done to you. Okay? You are being attacked by your own thoughts. They bring them with you only that you may return evil for evil, hoping that their witness will enable you to think guiltily of another and not harm yourself. Yet all of these thoughts that you're having are only your own thoughts. Is this so?
Yes.
So that when you harm that association out there, you're actually harming yourself? Literally?
Yes. Yes.
That he is actually that is you that is suffering his pain?
Yes.
Not some other time? See how you have set him up as an idol to suffer the pain and keep it off yourself?
Yes.
Wow, what an amazing idea. They speak so clearly for the separation, devised in your mind as thought forms to hold your identity, that no one not obsessed with keeping separation could hear them. You have to be absolutely your determination to listen to the fact that you could actually get sick and die and that you're not in heaven. And every one of these constructions in your own mind, karma, isn't it, is designed to remind you that this actually occurred and is real. They offer you the reasons why you should enter into unholy, partial alliances to support the no mind's or split mind's goals of holding on to its identity and getting sick and dying, and make your relationships the witness to its power. You give it power over you to direct you, yet it's the power emanating from your own mind. That's an amazing idea. You actually give up the power of your own mind so that something outside of you can tell you what you are in your relationship with yourself. It is these shadowy figures that would make the split mind, the ego, holy in your sight and teach you what you do to keep it safe is really love. What you do to keep yourself safe, attack your brother, defend yourself, have establishments, you are being taught that that is love. That through holding on to your own possessions, okay, that you can love yourself in a limited association with your own mind and reject the other thoughts that are constructs of you. My goodness. Now, the shadowy figures always speak for vengeance, a necessity to get even, a feeling of lack, a feeling of loss, a feeling that someone else has something that I don't have, a feeling that someone has taken something away from me in my own dream that I can get even with, a need to balance, a willingness to share as long as you can keep your half of it. Huh? Do you see what the mind does? Wow. The shadowy figures always speak for vengeance, and all relationships into which they enter are totally, unqualifyingly crazy, without exception. It's an exchange of nothing mind with nothing mind. Okay, without exception, these relationships have as their purpose the exclusion of the truth about the other and of yourself. There's no admission in you that you are in a total identity with that association. Wow. This is why you see in both what is not there, and make of both the slaves of vengeance. That's of yourself and of the projected reality that you have outside of you. And why whatever reminds you of your past grievances attracts you and seems to go by the name of love. So you go out and seek out people and associations that share your hate. Huh? Isn't that funny? That's what a human relationship is. Then you can gang up on the things you hate together and call it love. Wow. And why whatever reminds you of your past grievance attracts you and seems to go by the name of love, no matter how distorted the associations by which you arrived at the connection may be. It's the same idea as you will make war together on another brother or another association and call it love. And what you define as love is the banding together finally to cause pain to another association. Isn't that astonishing? Okay. When you call it total love, you gather with another association on lover's leap. You wrap your arms around each other and jump to your death as a demonstration of your love for each other. Do not underestimate the craziness of the need to associate death with life. And you don't think that you do this, but you do it. And you love, for example, your offsprings in order that they may die to protect you. I bet you can't hear that. That you construct an offspring as a defense against your own death. Yet, could you hear me? That's what you do. In other words, my dad sent me off to war to protect him and die for him that we could share our death associations. Everybody? He's specifically designed to protect you from death, but not to succeed, and then to suffer his subsequent death. There's some lovely sentences in the Course about that. Some of you are hearing this for the first time. Okay? But that's what the designation is for, to guarantee that you can get sick and die. Wow. Now, if you suddenly discover a reassociation in your own mind, you no longer want that father or that previous thought form that has held you in the bondage of that association of grievance. But when you attempt to give it up, you will feel the conflict of the previous thought forms that you had constructed to be in diametric opposition to what you now have caught a glimpse of. This is what this is going to say about 4 pages on here, but I wanted to give you a little taste of this. What? You've actually designed this to protect you from love, haven't you? Yeah. And it will succeed because it's the definition of yourself. So no matter how distorted the association by which you arrive at the connection may be, okay, you actually believe that it's okay to share cancer together, to combat it together and call it love. And you might just as well look at it. Who's going to look at it with me? How much your associations of love are connected to the defense of yourself from reality. That's what this says. And finally, why all such relationships become attempts at union through the body, for only bodies can be seen as means for vengeance. So you can kill the other body to protect your own. That bodies are central to all unholy relationships is evident. Your own experience has taught you this. But what you may not recognize are all the reasons that go to make the relationship unholy. And they're all the reasons that you have. For unholiness seeks to reinforce itself as holiness does. It has to. Because mind is a construct of itself in its own relationship with its self-identity. Okay? By gathering to itself what it perceives as like itself. And you cannot not do it. Birds of a feather will flock together. The direction of your mind will bring them all together to verify the sickness and death. Now, in this unholy relationship, it is not the body of the other with which union is attempted, but the bodies of those who are not there. You really don't want to allow that other body to be whole so that you can identify your wholeness with it. The other body is a construct of your own mind, okay, and it's really not there at all. although to the other body it may be there. This is the certainty that there's really no communication going on at all. Is there? Okay? For even the body of the other, already a severely limited perception of himself, is not the central focus as it is or in entirety. What can be used for fantasies of vengeance and what can be most readily associated with those on whom vengeance is really sought is actually centered on and separated off as being the only part of value. You literally don't see any holiness in your brother at all if you see any falsity in him at all. He is a total construction of your determination to stay in your own identity. And these are the shadowy figures that you have brought with you. Boy, is that amazing. Okay, ready? Actually, okay, this is what you'll do now to get computers. You're going to take all of these separate thoughts and give them a reality by continuing to separate them in your own mind in order to verify your separate association. Every step taken in the making and the maintaining and the breaking off of the unholy relationship is a move toward further fragmentation and unreality. This is why forgiveness is necessary. This is why at some point you will break off the relationship because it no longer satisfies yourself in what you think you are, and you will formulate another relationship that does satisfy you based on the rejection of the previous relationship. You're getting into more crap and more crap here. Who hears me? Who hears that? And the more you fragment it, the more you'll base it on the previous fragmentation. So actually, you're not certain. The way you try to find union is by breaking things up, not by putting them together. And you think you can break it up into enough forms where it will finally come together in your own mind, and in the perceptual mind, you call that learning. Quite literally. Now you need a computer for all the thoughts that you have separated. It's just crazy.
Right, so that was a bit of exposure, so to speak, to Master Teacher. Really great to hear it. Maybe you don't understand it, or maybe who knows what your experience is. So there can be many things happening when you listen to this. So I'm not going to go too much into that in what he shares, but one thing that is, coming to the surface is the idea of fragmentation that you might recognize too. It's like in your life, the actions that you undertook to get out of a situation into a new situation caused more chaos and more, division. And basically, bringing it back to the human frame of reference, it's like whatever your problem solving is and whatever you do to make a better life or to look for happiness and peace is basically increasing the chaos and the conflict. So that's why the asking for help or the coming back to letting these ideas go instead of doing something with it, but immediately asking for help is becoming the practice. But see, it cannot be happening without the recognition of what you are, of that you see that you're doing this. If you don't see it that you're doing this, then you keep doing it. So it's like any part that you use from your human frame of reference to do anything or to look at anything is really what the judgment is, and what it limits immediately, and what it makes it more chaotic, that you don't even know what you are relating to anymore. Just like Master Teacher used the example of you don't like to live with someone, it's like it's boring now, you look for someone else and you like this one much better because of the comparison with the last one, so to speak, thinking like now I got it, but still based on a comparison with someone else. So it's like with who then are you actually associating with? Who are you actually relating to then? And these insights come to you like step by step. It's like you go against, in fact, your total defense system to maintain the identity that you think you have. In other words, you translate everything in the way that you look at yourself. Like you cannot not do that up to the point that you recognize that you're doing it and asking for help completely, completely admitting too that you have no idea who you are. Then it can come to you. You know, these things are always simultaneous, and it's very, like it's an eye-opener to hear that, but to hear it in such a way that you want to apply it and actually see it at work. So that is the offering that is in this message that I share. See, for me, the fact that I share it is more like, oh, this is my precious communication with the one that reminded me of that everything is in me, and that, say, this light that is in me, this healing light of reassociation, like bringing everything back together and coming to a wholeness and an experience of wholeness. So he is actually the one who showed that to me, and but more by taking everything away that it isn't. Like everything was taken away that is not that. And then it is like the only desire that is left in you, like is in fact then your desire for peace and happiness, admitting immediately that you don't know how to reach that or to accomplish that or to even experience that. So you have no idea what it is. Now, bringing it back to our healing target, like the healing target child parent, you see some of it being coming to the surface here in the talk too. Like if you keep your memory of yourself in the same frame as where you think it comes from, then you will never be able to get out of it. So it's like then you're locked in your definition of yourself, locked in the frame because you really think that happening took place in this set of thoughts and this idea about myself that I have. So if I don't allow myself to have that been shaken and opened up for a release and for healing, then nothing has happened, and it will never happen. Here it says like it can take 1,000 years or 100,000 years. You will still have to come to the same spot, in fact, where you allow that change to occur. And the change really is, in fact, to give up, to forget, like to give up your definition of it all. Like, in fact, admitting I was wrong. My whole idea about myself is not what I am. So if I can completely, profoundly, to the bottom, admit that to myself, then what is can literally be shown to me, but only then. If I still hang on to one idea, it's like that what was shared in the beginning of the talk too, is like you want to try to bring two worlds together. Like one world with your memories and one world with the truth of who you are, and you try to juggle like we did this the other day. It's like you juggle the two worlds and hope they can work together, and they don't. Like there's no way that you can do that way. So why am I telling you this? Well, it's like you ask for healing. You have a real desire for peace and for happiness. That is profound. Now it is just that in order to get there, you have used something that is, in fact, an attack upon yourself. It is not loving yourself. So the request then in this is to come to the place where you can actually admit, like, I was wrong about the whole story of myself, how I have seen myself, what happened in my past, what happened to me as a kid, what happened to me as an adult, what happened to me, in my work situation, in my relationship situation. Like whatever happened was defined by me, but the way that I perceive myself is like literally in a mold of thoughts that have no reality at all. Like you cannot see yourself. You cannot see yourself. That's what's in the way. So this whole definition of yourself is not helpful for you to take any step, except for getting deeper into trouble, in fact. So this is just an attempt, and I thought I share with you directly from Master Teacher, just sharing the talk that I really love. Like I'm totally happy to share it with you because it has such an incredible possibility for healing. And I had like, well, I can definitely take some phrases out of this and use these in my talk here to you, but to have the full experience of an audio is very nice too. So that's why I decided to do it this time this way. And yeah, so thank you for listening to that and staying with it. And so the next part, like I said, and this is a bit of break time if you want, is to look at a video from a Dutch artist and showing something that actually looks like totally impossible, but it's actually happening. And this is just as an like artistic intermezzo. I love it. That's great. I love to see this. So it's pretty amazing. So, yeah, the next step, I didn't say what's going to happen now. So, yeah, what will be next? That's so interesting. So maybe I pull you up here, and if you feel like sharing something, you're welcome to do that, or have a question, or who knows what might happen, you're welcome to do that. And if that is not the thing that you want to do right now, we'll see what happens.
Yes,
Hmm.
I would like to say it's like a paradox class, this class.
Mm-hmm.
We can really live completely our life
Mm-hmm.
in certain sort. I don't know if you understand me.
So you say like we cannot live our life completely.
Yeah,
That's the paradox.
yeah,
Yeah. It seems like it.
yeah,
Yeah. But this continuously is like there's the relationships, the world, and there's your divinity. Right?
yeah.
Like this.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. So the that's great. That's great. So
But it's a question.
it's a question. Can it come together? That's the question. Yeah. Great. Yeah, wonderful. See, I had one of the sheets, so you didn't see that before. Didn't see that, but I had actually one. Let's see here. This is really part of that too. Yeah, I'll read it to you. The past. Now you are shifting back and forth between the past and the present. Sometimes the past seems real, as if it were the present. Voices from the past are heard and then are doubted. You are like to one who still hallucinates but lacks conviction in what he perceives. See, yeah, I can read it again. Now you're shifting back and forth between the past and the present. Sometimes the past seems real, as if it were the present. Voices from the past are heard and then are doubted. You're like to one who still hallucinates but lacks conviction in what he perceives. So that's in fact exactly what you tell me. So that is in fact the beautiful thing is what is being shared now was the idea of the shadows of the past. It's like you really think that the persons you see are representing others, you know, and that you live in a world where there are others, and that things are going to happen later on. And so that is all not taking place. So you could say like we're coming closer to the end of time. And the end of time is basically coming into the present moment and staying right there, not moving from it. But because we carry still memories of the past that seem to be very much alive in persons, in relationships, in parent-child, partner relationship or whatever, or your work or your memories about yourself, your definition of yourself. It's like as long as you say hold on to your definition of yourself as you see yourself, you're still in the past, in fact, and you're living a life of someone who isn't really there, who's already gone. Because what the actual occurrence is that you are whole and perfect as you were created. Like I am my Father are one. That is a realization right now, completely given to you. Like that is the reality of you. The rest has not occurred, is gone. But you live still live with ideas about a self-definition in which you think that you live in this construct, you could say, in this thing that you made, that you call yourself, and hold it together, defend it, use everything for it to keep it in place. In fact, even though you know there's something else, and you have come in touch with it, it is also in your consciousness, but say the other part is still there too, like what I called in the beginning a backpack of ideas that you carry around still with an idea of that's a heavy load to take with you. Well, actually there's nothing in the bag. But you didn't see it that way yet because of the way that you defined yourself. So there's the only way out then is in fact to be present in this moment without any definition of yourself. And that is for the figure that asks for it impossible. That is a paradox. So the one that is looking for the solution isn't real. So I hope that increased your confusion. See, it doesn't make a lot of sense to explain it. So that's why we practice light and love and meditation, becoming present. But actually, if you would become present, you would be out there, say in light, completely in total gratitude, experiencing fulfillment from top to toe and way beyond. It's like, so in fact then what you could say, like you're holding yourself together in a total denial continuously. You're happy with a glimpse of light, but not more than that. It's like, oh, don't blow me away with light. Don't completely penetrate me with light. Don't do that. I still have myself. Take it easy on me. You know, that kind of thing. So it's like a cat scratching over it, like, no, no, while you're being pulled by that what is so magnetic to you. You want it, like you totally want it deep inside of you. You want it so badly. You want to let everything go to just come into that experience. But the superficial you says, no, no, and comes with a dramatic story about why that could not happen right now. And you keep postponing it. It's like, no, some other time I will be ready for it. Some other time, not now. It's like, here's God giving you everything. And you say like, well, wait a minute, I got to do something. Wait, stay right there. You know, this is the story of even of an awakening mind, getting more and more attracted to the light and to experiencing peace. Yeah, Angel.
I know this is stupid, but so what percentage of us are really?
Because you are stupid or something, or what? What is
No,
stupid?
no. The question.
You're whole and perfect.
Good. So what percentage of us is real? Is really us?
Who's
So
asking?
just
Who's
little
asking?
percentage. You know, I know it's not a percentage, but you know what I mean. How much of us?
Yeah, who's asking?
I don't know.
Not the one
Probably.
who's real. We
Yeah.
could not ask this question. So it's like you can, yeah, the one that is asking this question isn't real. So why would I give an answer? Like, which percentage of you is real? None of it. None of it.
That's probably a good thing.
None of the one that questions is real. Like the same as none of the one that is hurt is has anything to do with your true self. Yeah, none of it. And that can feel a bit lonely, but like a lonely suffering. Like whatever suffers is not a part of me. Like, no, it's only related to the definition of yourself. So you think like a part of me is real. At least maybe 40% of me is real, right? Or 50, maybe 60, or maybe I got over the 50%. Like most of me is real. No, you're either totally real or you're nothing. So it's like, to say it out blunt, it's like you're either totally real or you're nothing. And that's not an judgment, it's an experience. So if you get that and you experience the wholeness of you will never have to ask that again. Yeah. But you join immediately in what is. So it's like that is yeah, that is circling around in our meetings too. It's like the moment that you feel really grateful and loved by everyone, you see suddenly the beauty of the ones that we meet that are here. Suddenly you feel something that is so, like you catch a glimpse of light. You want more of it. You know, you want more of it, and you recognize that as also as part of you, and you can accept that without feeling separated off of it. Finally, you allow yourself to feel that about yourself too. You know, so that's where this is about. That's why we come together, because it cannot. It can happen suddenly that you shift into it. Sure, but this is a beautiful exercise to allow more and more of the love that you are to be accepted by you, like taking it back. So now instead of say that, you see that master teacher used too the idea of self-expression, like you become more creative and sensitive and self-expressive. Like the first moment that you express yourself with a creative expression, something like in a little assignment some time ago, the first time that you did that here in the group was totally different than how you do it now. It's like you have allowed yourself to express yourself, like that turned around, and suddenly you can be yourself. You feel the freedom of the self-expression, like it is expressing itself through you. That was the whole idea. You know, that's the whole idea. And you can identify with that completely without hurting anyone. This is where true love is, you know. You get what I'm saying? But you're such a beautiful example of that, Angel. Come on. You're such a beautiful example of that.
So we're always becoming.
No, no, yeah, you could say that too. Yeah, you could say that too. It's like you're in a continuous creative self-expression. Absolutely, absolutely. It is, say, it with a capital I is expressing itself through you as much as you allow that to occur. It can be total, and it will still be growing. It will extend forever. It will expand forever. That's why it's so incredibly exciting that you rather not think about it, because you might disappear into it. That's why I say these things. Can you feel how hot that is? Yeah. So that's great. Yeah. So that's
It
why.
can sound like a
Yeah, go ahead.
oh, it can seem it sounds like a paradox to say none of me is real, um, and the fullness of myself. But you can talk about that maybe because it sounds like a paradox, but it's really just the wording.
No, it's not just the wording. It's the I say the reference that you use. So if you see
Yeah,
your self-definition as your identity, then yeah, that's that's not what you are. So it's like that, none of that is real. But if you say, don't need a definition of yourself, but come to know who you are, it comes from a whole different place, and you extend it. It extends through you. See, because you cannot extend from yourself as you've defined yourself. That will always be limiting. But if you recognize that you're an effect, say, of God, which is in you, you're an effect of it, you don't have to make yourself. That is already given. But you can experience it, and it can extend through you as much as you want. Like I said, it's like you can open that up completely. And say in your self-definition of yourself, you see that that's a danger for the existence of the you that you know. But if you feel the flow of the divine through you in such a way that you're completely be taken by it, there would not be one instant that you would think that you would missing something. You would be missing something. You know, so this is like a really beautiful, in fact, really interesting that we can actually look at it. So we can look at it by defending ourselves a little bit. Otherwise, if you really hear it, you disappear into it. Like it's all really an experience, nothing else. That's all. So it's like in one of the lessons of A Course in Miracles, it says, like, above all else, I want peace. You know, I want to experience peace. If that is really true, then you would immediately go into that experience. You didn't have to say, like, oh yeah, now I know what you mean. It's like, no, you don't know what I mean, otherwise you would disappear into it. Like everything we use with, say, vocabulary in that sense is a denial of what it actually is. Oh, I love you so much. No, you hate me. That's why you say that you love me so much. If you love me so much, you would disappear with me into light. That's what love is. That's all. You know, it's like you have no idea how much denial you are as a human being, as an awakening mind, recognizing its humanity as a human frame of nothingness. Did I say that? Yeah, no. So you're familiar with that. It's not a shock any longer. So yeah, this is great. So thank you for the questions. It was actually nice that we did this. And yeah. So it's not really discussion, more like, yeah, sharing the joy of the recognition. You know, it's like there's so much joy and light in there. Yeah. Great. So wonderful. So I have one still song that I love to play. It's a bit of an there are two songs actually. One is the choir version, and the other one is a more like up-tempo version. But I love to share them with you just as an say possibility to relax. So it's Memorial Day in America, right? Is that something? What is it? What do you do when you memorize on this day?
They put up a lot of flags and it's all
People
patriotic.
barbecue.
And yeah, you barbecue, but we don't have barbecue.
That's what most of.
The day off.
It's usually a 3-day weekend.
You go to the cemeteries.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
a
yeah. Okay.
it's an excuse for people to get together and have a reason to party,
Yeah.
see your family, and
Just like
yeah,
in
3-day
Holland,
weekend.
yeah, just like in Holland, Pentecost. Like I bet that say 99.9% doesn't know what this is all about. Pentecost.
Yeah.
They have a weekend off and they go do all kinds of things. So
Can you tell us what Pentecost is?
yeah, another time.
Happily.
Okay.
I actually was sharing it yesterday. So and actually we meditated directly with a meditation from Joel Pentecost. So I will refer to that. Like I put up the video tomorrow probably, and then we can listen. But to bring it to you short, like the short version is this. It's like, okay, so Jesus ascended, right? On Ascension Day, he ascended, and then he said, "I'll send you a comforter." And that's in fact, say at a certain point, if you look at it historically, it was like suddenly people came together, and something was almost like the wind was coming into like a church or something, a meeting place, and they felt as if there was fire on their heads. Suddenly they could understand each other beyond the language. And this is like a really beautiful metaphor, of course, for communication in light. As we meet in this meeting, like we recognize the light. So no matter what words are being spoken, whether you speak French or whether you speak English or Dutch or whatever, it wouldn't actually matter, because it's like, now you recognize the light, and that is communicating. So that it is not an historic event. It is literally what you can do in the recognition of your ascendant mind. Like you are in total communication, in communication in light, not in words or your understanding. But you get what I'm saying, hopefully.
Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, so there are two songs. They're actually the same songs, but they're different versions. One is the choir. Start with that.